We've got U.S. Marshals, we've got FBI, we've got DEA, we've got ATF, we've got CBP, along with all of my folks from ICE. Very, very grateful to have this level of cooperation, and this is something that is just going to continue. As long as there are bad guys in the streets, we're going to be out here arresting them and making sure we're keeping these communities safe.
Immigration raids targeting the worst of the worst in Colorado. Hundreds of federal agents working to take down Venezuelan gang members in Denver and Aurora, Colorado. Welcome to a brand new hour of America's Newsroom. I'm Dana Perino. Hello again, John.
Good to be with you again, Dana. I'm John Roberts here in Washington. A massive crackdown taking aim at more than 100 members of the violent gang Tren de Aragua. The raids focusing on apartment buildings where TDA was in control, terrorizing residents. It appears that the gang was expecting company. The targeted apartments were mostly empty, but officials say they will not let up and will keep working to make the community safe.
Bill Melugin was on the scene exclusively as the enforcement action was underway. He's live in Aurora today. Hi, Bill.
Hey, Dana, good morning to you. This was an enormous operation. We are talking hundreds of federal agents across multiple federal agencies. Their goal, as you guys stated, was to target about 100 Tren de Aragua gang members here in the Aurora area. Unfortunately, that goal was derailed, possibly due to leaks to the media that this operation was coming. We were given exclusive access to tag along and witness all of it.
God bless y'all. Let's take these bad guys off the street. Send the Gitmo. Come home safe, every one of you.
You guys, we can roll you up.
Border Czar Tom Homan rallying the troops ahead of a massive federal operation in Aurora, Colorado Wednesday morning. Several hundred federal agents from ICE, HSI, DEA, FBI, ATF, and CBP, all targeting alleged members of the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua.
Tom, you guys have hundreds of people out here. What's the goal today?
The goal today is send a message to TDA that we're going to eradicate them from this country. There's no safe harbor. There's no sanctuary for them folks.
Fox News joined as one team of agents arrived at the Aurora apartment complex that went viral last summer when TDA gang members were seen on security video with guns.
Watch your backs on the doors without feet on. Please open the door. Please open the door. What is he up?
As the team went door to door, they found blood-stained walls, but no gang members. The entire complex was virtually empty. At a second Tren de Aragua link complex, ICE was met by activists who taunted them. And others who used megaphones to coach those living inside. DEA agents used flashbangs inside while serving a warrant. That led to a handful of arrests, but no TDA gang members. A stop at another apartment complex netted no arrests.
It seems like they were tipped off. They knew this was coming.
So, yeah, I do get the impression that there were some intel leaks here, and I think that probably they did know we were coming, but we're still coming. And just because something leaks now and then it's not going to stop us.
Also on their radar, this previously deported Honduran illegal alien with pending local charges for strangulation, kidnapping, and possession of fentanyl.
Get the out of my neighborhood! Get out!
While activists yelled outside, agents recovered this stolen rifle from inside the man's home.
And guys, officials told us they were planning to net triple-digit arrests as a result of this operation, possibly upwards of 200 people. ICE officials told me at the end of the day yesterday, they only had 30 arrests, only one of which was a confirmed Tren de Aragua gang member. It certainly felt like everybody knew this was coming, including the targets and the local media. We'll send it back to you.
And did the local media, did they get ahead of the operation?
They were everywhere we were, sometimes ahead of us, it felt like, along with some of the local activists. This raid was initially supposed to happen last week, guys, but two media outlets wrote articles announcing it. It got leaked to them. They wrote articles announcing that ICE was coming to the Aurora area to conduct a huge operation. ICE canceled that raid, moved it to this week, and everywhere we went, The local media was there, followed quickly by those anti-ICE activists. It definitely felt like people knew it was coming, and ICE officials told us the same.
All right, Bill Melugin, thank you so much.
All right, Dan, let's bring in Danielle Jurinsky. She is a member of the Aurora City Council. She's a business owner and a proud veteran as well. So we have been told repeatedly by city officials in Aurora, Denver as well as the governor of Colorado, that there is no gang problem there in Aurora, despite the fact that we seem to have seen it with our own eyes, and despite the fact that ICE was after some 100, if not more, gang members. So what does that say about what city and state officials have been telling us for these many months, Danielle?
Yeah, it says that they've been lying, going all the way up to our governor, down to the local level. The people have been lied to. This gang is here. They have been here. This is the same gang that I've been talking about for months and months. I was told it was a feature of my imagination, and that essentially I was crazy in making this all up. They are here. They, as much as everyone wanted to say this was an isolated incident in Aurora, they are throughout the Denver metro area. I mean, their foothold has gotten so much stronger. They are spread out and they are organized. Law enforcement confirmed to me early on that one of the most scary things about Tren de Aragua is that they are much more organized than MS-13. I do believe here locally that they were tipped off. We have some activist groups that are going around and moving migrants around and telling them not to answer their doors. Fortunately, there is one apartment complex that was hit yesterday by law enforcement, Whispering Pines. It is one of the complexes that I've talked about for months and months. Those folks opened their doors. They said that they were treated with respect. They were treated kindly. They were just essentially asked who they are. I have no problem with federal agents coming into the city of Aurora or anywhere in the Denver metro area to find out who exactly has come into our city.
Danielle, there are state and local officials there who said they were going to get in ICE's way. Have you seen any evidence of that?
I haven't seen any direct evidence of that. What Representative Jason Crow did last week with his publicity stunt after it was leaked that Buckley Space Force Base was going to be used as an ICE detention holding facility. He went out there, he had a tour, he made this grand announcement that Buckley will not be used as a detention ICE facility. Well, he doesn't have that power or that authority. So my guess is when it was tipped off to the media that this was coming, either President Trump or Tom Homan or whomever backed off and said, okay, we're going to delay it and we won't activate Buckley, because obviously there's leaks. And so I would say I have not personally seen any of them physically get themselves in the way, but some of these activists are definitely on the line. And I hope that Tom Homan, I hope these agents, as you heard him say kind of in the huddle to his team before they went out, every one of them has to make it home at night. Every single one of these men and women have to make it home at night. So whatever they have to do, and if that includes these local activists getting in their way, physically getting in their way, arrest them.
Yeah. So we heard these community activists, maybe they were neighbors, we don't know, yelling, "Get out of our community." Well, Caleb Vitella, who is the acting director of ICE, said they wouldn't be in the community if they had the cooperation of local officials. Listen to what he said.
Unfortunately, we have to come to the communities because we don't get the cooperation that we need from the jails. It would be so much easier and so much safer for our officers and agents if we could take these people into custody from a safe environment. But if we have to come out in the community to do this, that's what we're going to do.
So he says if we cooperate, if the local authorities would cooperate with us, we could just do a handover and an ICE detainer from a jail. But they're not doing that, which is why they've got to come out there and do all of this.
Yeah, people don't seem to understand that. These are criminals. These are criminals being taken out of our community and off of our streets. Bill Melugin just said that they ended up with like 30 arrests. People are out screaming and yelling. They held a protest in downtown Denver yesterday, trapping many people from being able to get home from work, get to their kids. You're protesting criminals being taken from this community, and a lot of these criminals you are seeing have previously been arrested in the Denver metro area. So I agree. I agree, and I stand with those agents. I do think that there are sheriffs in the Denver metro area that will allow them into the jails. And if that connection needs to be made, I am happy to be that go-to point to connect federal agencies with local sheriffs and local jails. I do think that there will be some that will be a problem, Denver especially. But it would be good. It would be good if they could just go into the jails and get them from the jails. But because that's not the case, and the left wants this fear instilled. The left wants these agents out in the community, and they want this chaos.
Yeah, well, it seems that they really wanted to make a show out of it, and the fact that it was leaked, and which really disrupted the operation, might feed into that as well. Danielle, obviously this is something we're going to continue to watch. We appreciate you being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.